Hey, kings and queens. I'm going live on multiple platforms. Happy Thursday, Lunch and Learn Thursday here. And here I am. Now, I am currently live on all four platforms. Live on LinkedIn, YouTube, both of my Facebook pages. Thank you guys for joining me. I was not able to put out a flyer to remind you guys for today's Lunch and Learn. Life has been life and life has been busy. I have been doing a lot, making lots of strides, getting lots of things together and in place for you guys. And I am excited. I am excited about the spring market and how real estate is picking up. The market is doing well. We're on a downtrend. And as you can see in my caption, we are talking about credit today because credit is one of the biggest things that scare people into buying a house. And so I'm going to go over just credit as a whole and why it shouldn't be so scary. And we're going to talk about just some of the things you can do, some of the tips and tricks that you can do to get your credit where you want it to be able to buy a house. So let's start with the first thing first. You can buy a home, your residential property, with as little as a 580 credit score. You can go down to 500 if you got 10% to put down, but that we're going to focus on the regular everyday people like me. You want to have a 640 or higher because that's when you're going to start getting decent pricing. Your credit and your whole mortgage application and profile as a whole is what determines what your interest rate is going to be. But the credit is a large factor to that. If you have a lower credit score, you're going to get what we call loan level pricing adjustments, LLPAs. And those pricing adjustments is going to ding you for having a lower score. However, you can buy a house with a 580 score. We want you to be 640 or higher, but you can buy a house with a 580 score. All right, let's talk about credit and what it means. Your credit history tells how responsible you have been with credit in the past. It also, a lot of factors with your accounts, how well you pay them, how much you pay them. When we're dealing with revolving accounts, we're talking about credit cards and things that when it says revolve, you have a limit that you can spend. And then how much of that limit do you spend? How much do you pay down? How often do you use it? So you have the utilization, you have the balance. All of those factor into what kind of score you're going to get. And credit scores could change daily, it could change monthly, depending on the activity going on and what you're doing with your finances. Credit is not hard to maneuver. It's not hard to manipulate. And people, a lot of time, you feel like you have this scarlet letter on your back when you have bad credit. Life happens, and when it comes to the mortgage industry, they know life happens. They call them life events. They know you have life events. So when we're dealing with the credit score, okay, when we're dealing with your credit score, they're counting back when it comes to your points 2 years, right? Whatever happened in the last 2 years, they want to know. They a lot of things, negative stuff, positive, negative things stay on your credit for 7 years, right? And then it's supposed to drop off. But they don't count to anything towards your points but the last 2 years, because they know 4 years ago you could have lost your job, you could have got sick, you could have been in an accident, you could have had to take care of a family member, you could have gone through a divorce. And as long as they can see that in the last 2 years you have been responsible with your finances, then that is what they're counting towards your points. Okay, so let's keep that understood. Pay all this stuff off on my credit. Sometimes paying everything off could make your credit score worse. In most instances, it makes your credit worse. So you have to be careful with that. You have to consult your financial people, lender, or whoever, depending on what you're trying to do, before you go start paying anything off on your credit, right? So that's first things first. So if something happened 4 years ago and it's not being counted towards your score, if you pay it off today, it's going to jump up as a new account. As of today, you paid it off, but it's still a new negative account, and that could make you lose points. So again, before you pay anything off, please talk to your lender and advise and ask for advice. Hey, should I pay this off? What should I do? Should I make arrangements? Because if it's something that happened 4 years ago and it's not being counted towards your points, then you don't want to bring that thing back up to the forefront and it causes your score to go down. So that's a big misconception. Oh, I got to pay all this stuff off. I got this, and this, and that. If it happened more than 2 years ago, before you touch it, I'm going to say before you touch anything, call me, right? And it will go over it, okay? We can get into credit and the accounts, what the difference, all of that stuff, but that's not for this live. I'm not a credit consultant. I am a lender, but I do know with my history in this business, what I've seen and what I've experienced, what my clients have experienced, credit isn't as big of a deal as we all make it out to be. Okay. So let's put that out there. If it was more than 2 years ago, it's not being counted towards your score. So when we're dealing with credit, we're talking about how responsible are you with paying your bills. And when you go to apply for a new loan through someone else, they're going to look at your credit history and say, well, how was they with these other bills, with these other things that they took out? How responsible were they? Did they pay on time? Did they max out their credit cards? So that's how they're analyzing your credit report. You have on your credit report 30, 60, 90-day late. So any account that you have outstanding, anything that you have that's active, you have to pay it before it's 30 days late, before it is reported to your credit. A lot of people don't know that either. So if your credit card bill is due on the 25th, you have to pay it before the 25th of the next month, or it's going to be reported as a late payment on your credit. If you pay it on the 30th or the 5th of the next month, it is not going to be reported as late on your credit report. Whoever you're paying is going to charge you a late fee. You're going to have to pay with them. They're going to recognize that, but it is not reported to your credit until it is officially 30 days late. So that's another thing that can pull you down. And then if you don't pay it the next month, then it's 60 days. So now on your credit report, it's going to say 60-day late on this account. And then that's when your scores start going down even more. So you want to avoid. So if something happening, life is happening, you don't have the money to pay it on the 27th, it's due on the 27th, don't panic too much, because you have until the 27th of the next month before it is reported to your credit. Okay, that's a lot of things that are not one thing that I didn't know personally before I got into this business. So, credit cards. Credit cards are a scary thing. Credit cards can be dangerous for those of us who are not financially savvy and who are not don't have a good relationship with money, because a lot of times having bad credit and being able to navigate your credit it's a mental thing, right? What kind of relationship do you have with your money? If you don't have a good, dangerous. I'm sorry, I'm having some issues with my internet on this other platform. But credit cards could be dangerous. So we have to have a good relationship with our finances, and we have to be careful when we're getting credit cards, because it's so easy to max that credit card out, and then we get into a hole where we can't pay it off, right? So you want to be careful with credit cards. Credit cards is the easiest way to build your credit up. If you're using credit cards right, you can see yourself getting 20, 30 points every month when you're using that credit card on your credit report. But if you're not using it right, you can see yourself in the car, and it's probably just searching around. Sorry about that, y'all. You can lose 20, 30 points. Sometimes credit card companies will allow you to get a secured credit card. What does that mean? That means you secure the credit. So they may say, I'm going to give you a $300 credit card, but you give me $300. I'm going to hold on to it. And if you use it and you don't default, I'm going to give you your $300 back, and I'm likely going to increase your credit limit. You want to get that secured credit card. Percent rule, because thing up front. However, in this country, if you're trying to get a loan for something, they're not going to give you a loan without you already being in debt. This country runs off of debt. It's funny. It is very, very hilarious that you're telling me I got to have some debt in order to get more debt. But they need to see your payment history. They need to see how much. If I loan you $100, are you going to pay it back? The whole point of um, the credit system. So you get this $1,000. Okay, I'm gonna say first things first. Let's get a credit card. The credit card is the fastest way to boost your score. So you get this $300 credit card, $500. Before this example, I'm gonna say $1,000. So 10% of $1,000 is $100. So use that credit card to get gas, do grocery shopping. Or do not get $1,000 credit card and then go buy something for $1,000. Now you have maxed that out. You're not using the credit responsibly, and that's going to make your score go down. It's going to report negatively your credit balance. Percent. Use $300. Get your gas, get your groceries, and then when your bill is due, pay it down to $100. So that's the 30-10 rule. Use 300, pay it down to 30. Use 300, pay it down to 30. You have to use it in order for them to give you positive points. They have to be able to make some. Something happens, your car broke down. It costs $500. You don't have the cash. You got this $1,000 credit limit. Use your credit card. Use up to $500. But make sure you pay that credit card down to at least 300, to at least 30%, so you can get your positive. Try to avoid at all costs using the whole $1,000. But if you have to use the whole $1,000, try to at all costs pay that card down to $300. You're going to see yourself get some points, but not the maximum amount of points. If you can, use 300, pay it down to 100. Use 300, pay it down to 100. You're going to see if you use your credit cards in that manner, your score is going to start going up 20, 30 points every month. And you'll see in the next 3 months, you've gone from having a 520 credit score to a 620 credit score. I mean, it works. It works the way you work it. It's again, credit is a game, and it depends on how you work it. Okay. You get you one, two of those secure credit cards. You use those the way you're supposed to use them every month, and then you're going to see your score go up. Once you hit that 620, 630 mark, and start applying for mortgage loan. Do not allow anybody to run your credit randomly, because inquiries stay on your credit for, I want to say, 3 or 4 years, and the inquiries look negatively, and the inquiries can make you lose points. Every time you have somebody run your credit, um, to these companies will allow you to uh, set up a savings account. So let's say your goal is to save $2,000 in the next 24 months. They're going to say, all right, you can pay us $25 a month for the next 24 months, and it's going to appear on your credit report as if this is a personal loan. And every month you pay that $25 into that account, it's going to look like you're paying off this personal loan. And every month you're going to get points for that. If you can Google credit savings accounts and stuff. I don't work for these people. They're not promoting me to be able to put their business out there like that. But there are accounts and there are companies that do that, right? And then we have Experian. This is not a promotion, guys. I do not work with Experian, but Experian has a thing called Credit Booster. I believe it's called Credit Booster. You can put your utility bills on there, your cell phone, your electric, your gas, your water. And what Experian would do, because I do it myself, I do it for all of my bills. When you have an Experian account, you can log into your Experian account. They're going to ask you to log into your bank accounts. If you have those bills on direct debit and you pay it on time every month, Experian will report that to your Experian account as positive scores, right? So that's another way to boost your credit score real quick, the credit booster. And then they have a rent reporter, guys. If you are paying your rent every month on time, rent reporters will report that to your credit and allow you to get points for paying your rent on time. There are a couple different companies. It started off with just rent reporters, but there are couple different companies that can help you with that. Then you want to go on your credit. You can go to annualcreditreport.com. Annualcreditreport.com. Make sure that you put that in your URL when you're putting that in, because if you type that in Google, it's going to bring you all of these credit companies and they're going to try to make you pay for a credit report. They're going to try to get you to sign up for credit monitoring and all that stuff. Make sure in your URL it says annualcreditreport.com. Pull your credit report. We are allowed as consumers a free copy of our credit report every year. Go on there, pull all three of your bureaus, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. When you're trying to buy a house, we're going to look at all three of those scores. We're going to throw out your high one, throw out your low one, and use your median score, your middle score. So you need to know what's going on with all three of those bureaus. As I just said, Experian, if you do credit booster, they're only going to boost your Experian score. They're not going to boost your other scores. So make sure that you're looking at all three of your credit reports. Check your addresses, the address history, because it can be some negative stuff that was tied to one of those addresses that had fallen off your credit report because it was on there for 7 years that could still be affecting your score. So make sure you write your letters. You can go to ChatGPT, write me some letters to the credit bureaus to remove these addresses from my thing. ChatGPT will do the letter. Dear Experian, dear Equifax, they will give you the addresses, everything. You take those letters, take them to the post office, send them off certified mail, and send those to the credit bureau so they can remove those old addresses off your account. Old addresses, phone numbers, employers. You might have been working at McDonald's and when it was in a real bad financial situation and you had some really bad stuff hit your credit. If that McDonald's is on your credit report, then all of that stuff is behind the scenes attached to that McDonald's. If you were living at that address and all that stuff was going to that address, behind the scenes, all of that stuff is still tied to that address. So that's why they tell you to remove those. I have seen removing just the addresses has caused my score to go up 40 points. So make sure you do that. Relationship with credit. Having a bad credit score does not necessarily mean you're a horrible person. A lot of people wear that as a scarlet letter. They have a lot of shame with that. They be like, "Oh, my credit bad," and they really think they're a horrible person. No, you just don't have a good relationship with money. And nobody taught you how to use your credit properly. Nobody taught you how to get good scores. We just think we pay our bills on time. Car notes don't have a huge impact. Now, if you don't pay it, if you go 30, 60, 90 days late on that car note, it's going to have a huge impact. You pay that car note on time every month, you're not going to see 20, 30 points on your credit score every month. You'll see some. It's going to maintain and stay steady, but it's not necessarily going to make you get these big old points. Revolving credit is what's going to do that. personal loans, short-term stuff that they say, okay, you had to get that because life was happening for you, but you used it and you paid it back. That's when you're gonna start getting your credit score. That's when your credit score gonna start jumping. So come up with a plan. You guys, if you want to buy a house and you're like, I don't know, my credit looks like this, and I'm not sure, and this has been a bad time for me, and my credit is just horrible. I never had good credit before. I've been there. What I want to tell you is having a life thing happen is not does not make you a terrible person. What matters now is you're trying to get yourself back on track. You're trying to fix your credit, and you want to buy a house. It's your goal to buy your own home, start investing in real estate, and you need to get your score up. Call me. We can go over your scores. Pull those three credit reports, annualcreditreport.com. I use Credit Karma. I use because Credit Karma will give you your scores from Equifax and TransUnion, and then you also get a separate Experian account. Sign up for those two accounts so you can monitor your score. The free services for those work just fine. You do not have to pay. But both Experian and TransUnion have a paid service that they will monitor all three of your credit reports. I'm not being paid by these people. I'm not promoting these people, but what I'm telling you is what works for me. And then monitor your score. You're going to start getting the alerts. Your score has gone up. Your score has decreased. See what you could do to make your score look better. Um, and then monitor your credit. Call me. I can walk you through it. Once you download those three credit reports, your full credit reports from annualcreditreport.com, then we can go over it and come up with a plan. And I'm going to tell you if you do one, two, three, and you do it in this timeline, by this timeline, you are going to be ready to buy your house. That's what I can tell you if we sit down and with me. If you have excellent credit, kudos to you. That means you have a great relationship with money, and I'm proud of you. I'm so proud of you. Go ahead. But a lot of us, especially coming from our communities, we don't have a good relationship with money because it was scarce. A lot of us that grew up in the poverty mindset, we don't have a good relationship with money because it wasn't taught to us. We wasn't taught how to build your credit, how to be responsible. We and a lot of us just didn't have the money, right? We just made do with what we had. A lot of us is like cash is king, and it is. But if you want to play the game that the higher ups and the powers that be play, you have to know how to have a good relationship with credit. You have to know how to have a good relationship with your money. You have to know how to navigate these things. And if you have any questions, we have a whole financial company that's tied to mortgage experts that we are that is a part of what we offer, and we can do a whole financial profile for you when it comes to insurance, investments, not only just buying a house. So always, 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 if you have any questions or if you need assistance with that, give me a call. I know my folks on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook, we got cut off. So I'm going to see how I can download this video from TikTok and see if I can post it on those platforms. But I hope this was helpful, guys. I hope you enjoyed your lunch. Thank you so much for joining me on this beautiful Thursday. Enjoy yourself, enjoy your day, and I will see you guys next week. Thank you for tuning in. I love y'all. Bye.